Good afternoon. We're now on the video record. Today's Wednesday, the 11th day of October, 2017. The time is 12:23 p.m. We are here at the Miami-Dade Courthouse, 73 West Flagler Street, 20th floor, Miami, Florida, 33130, for the purpose of taking the videotape deposition of Officer Luis Gomez, taken by the plaintiff, in the matter of McDonough versus Murguido and Gomez, case number 15-08342 CA08, which filed in the 11th Judicial Circuit in and for Miami-Dade County, Florida. Court reporter Beverly Rabatine of Sylvia Evans court reporting. The videographer is Aurelia Roman of Night Vision Video. Would all counselors please state your appearance for the record?
John Jabra representing Mr. Gomez.
Alan Greenstein representing Dr. Eric McDonough.
And good afternoon, Eric Stetton for Officer Murguido.
All right.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Please tell me your name and occupation.
Luis Gomez. I'm a law enforcement officer.
And for whom do you work?
Monroe County.
How long have you worked? That's the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Is
Correct.
That, okay. How long have you worked for them?
14 years.
Okay. I presume you've given a deposition before?
Yes.
Okay. So you know the procedure?
Yes.
All right. So just a couple of things. Please, I'm going to ask you some questions. You were sitting in for most of Officer Murguido's deposition. If you don't understand something I ask you, please let me know. I'll be happy to repeat it for you, because I promise you, if I don't understand what you're saying, I will ask you to repeat it, okay?
Yeah.
Second, it shouldn't be nearly as long as the prior deposition, but if at any time you need to take a break, please let me know. And also, your attorney's here. Please feel free to discuss something with him if you need to, okay? I'm sure he'll object or whatever, but if you want to talk to him, please feel free to do that, okay? All right. What's your current assignment with Monroe County?
I am currently assigned to the courthouse.
And what does that entail?
Just security for the judge for the courthouse.
All right. Which courthouse?
The Plantation Key courthouse.
And how long have you been doing that work?
2 years.
Okay. What was your assignment before? What assignments have you had with Monroe County?
The road patrol prior to that.
Okay.
And Alamorada and Key Largo.
Okay. So you work up at the north end of the county?
Yes.
Right? Okay. When you say road patrol, does that entail issuing traffic citations, but also making arrests and things like that? Both?
Correct.
Okay. Have you ever worked as a detective or an investigator for Monroe County?
No.
Okay. Were you employed with any law enforcement agencies before Monroe County?
No.
I'm sorry?
No, sir.
Okay. I don't know how old you are, but did you work before you worked for Monroe County?
Yes.
What did you do?
Prior to that, I was wrestling alligators.
Okay. Really?
Out in the Everglades, yes.
Okay. How long did you do that and survive?
About 4 years.
Okay. Do you know a person by the name of Dr. Eric McDonough?
Yes.
How do you know him?
From this incident that
Okay.
we're going through now.
All right. You apparently were a witness to the incident that occurred with Officer Murguido, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Had you ever met him before that?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you had any encounter with him after that?
No, sir.
Okay. Where do you live?
In Homestead, Florida.
Okay. Can you tell me the address?
No,
Yeah,
it's
I'm going to object in finding that address.
Okay. Well, we actually have it, but that's okay if you don't want to say it. Okay. How long have you lived at that, whatever that address? Well, first, we're talking about the, let me rephrase. How long have you lived at the address you're living at now?
I want to say maybe 2 years.
Okay. Back in July of 2012, were you living in the same house as you're living now?
No.
Okay. How long did you live at that house?
I want to say maybe 3 years, 2 or 3 years.
During the 2012?
Correct.
Okay. And after that you moved to somewhere else, and then you've moved again to somewhere else?
Correct.
Okay. We'll talk about the residence at back in 2012. What was the address for that residence?
20307 Southwest 324th Street, Homestead, Florida.
And who did you live there with?
My family,
Okay. Who is your family?
wife and kids.
Okay. What's your wife's name? I'm not gonna, just the first name.
Isabel.
Was she home at the time of the incident that involved Officer Murguido?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you own or rent that place?
Rent that place.
Okay. And did you rent it, or did your wife rent it, or both of you rent it? Was it both of your names?
I don't recall.
Okay. And you remember who you rented it from?
It was one of the deputies that used to work with us, and he since has retired and left the scene, left Florida.
One of the deputies from Monroe
Monroe County.
Okay.
Deputy Gomez, be sure to speak up.
Yes, sir.
Before the incident, did you know Officer Murguido?
I had seen him. I didn't know him.
Okay. When I say you never really talked to him or anything like that?
No.
Where was your house in relation to his house?
Right in front, just catty corner.
Across the street from each other?
Across the street, but
A little bit of an angle?
Yes.
Okay. Would you have been to the east of him or the west of him?
To the west of it.
Did you know he was a police officer?
Yes.
How did you know that?
Marked patrol vehicle.
Would
in
sort of give it
uniform.
away?
Yes.
Okay. Back then, did you drive a marked police vehicle home?
Yes.
Now, do you recall the date that the incident with Officer Murguido and my client occurred? Do you recall the date?
It was October 29th, I believe it was.
Of 2012?
Yes.
Okay. Where were you, or what were you doing that you were in a position to witness whatever happened?
I was sitting inside the marked patrol vehicle, off duty, and cleaning the inside of the vehicle.
And where was the car parked, A, in relation to your house? We'll start with that.
It was parked right in the driveway.
In the driveway?
Yes.
Okay. Facing front or backed up?
Backed up.
Okay.
So I would back it up so my windshield, the front of the vehicle, would be facing the street.
Okay. And I presume, because you said you were inside, you were cleaning the inside of the vehicle?
Correct.
Okay. Were the windows up or down?
I don't recall.
Okay. How long had you been home before whatever happened? About?
I don't recall. I
Okay.
don't recall if I was out, if I was home all day. I don't recall.
Okay. Well, I mean, were you in uniform at the time?
No.
Okay. Had you just driven the vehicle up, or do you think you might have been at home, come out, and started cleaning the car? Do you recall?
I don't recall.
Okay. What were you cleaning the car with? Do you remember? I mean, like, is it Windex for the windows, or were you cleaning the seats? Do you remember what you were doing?
I remember cleaning the inside of the vehicle. I don't remember what I was using to clean the
Okay.
vehicle with.
Well, I meant, were you cleaning, like, the upholstery, or were you cleaning the windows or something?
Everything.
Everything,
yes.
okay. And you don't remember if, like, your wife was home at the time?
No.
Do you remember about what time of day or night this was?
This was daytime.
Okay. Do you remember if you had worked that day?
I don't recall.
Let me ask you this. Would you remember back at that time what your work schedule was?
It would have been day shift.
5 days, I mean, what days would you, do you remember what you?
Day shift, 12-hour shifts, 2 on, 3 off, that sort of thing.
So you
it
work
was
2 days, off 3 days, work 2 days?
Correct.
Okay.
But there were times where I would help out and work a night shift, so I don't recall.
Okay, all right. Okay. When you clean your car, like, first of all, I don't know, does the police vehicle have like a regular radio, like you can play music or listen
Yes.
to sports?
Yeah.
Do you know if you were doing that?
No, I don't remember.
When you're in your vehicle, Again, I don't know. I've only ridden in a police vehicle. Do you leave like the police radio on, or is it off?
No, it's off.
Okay. Were you with anybody other than yourself?
No, just by myself.
Okay. First, let me ask you this. What drew your attention to whatever was going on over at Officer Murguido's house?
I had, I'm sitting in the vehicle and I'm cleaning, focusing on what I'm doing.
Right.
But I look up once in a while and I see a male walking down the street.
So that's the first thing you saw?
First thing I saw.
Did you see Officer Murguido at that time?
Don't remember seeing Officer Murguido.
Okay. Where was this person coming from? And which direction was he, let me ask, what direction was he walking?
Believe the gentleman walked east on 324.
Okay. Got it. What did you see him doing other than walking at that point?
Just walking.
Okay. Had you ever seen that person before?
No.
Did that turn out to be my client?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I presume since nothing's going on, you're going back to cleaning now?
Correct. Looking back down, minding my own business.
Okay.
I look up again. I see the gentleman stop in front of Officer Murguido's home, residence. Go back to doing what I'm doing.
How far, if you can estimate, is your view to the front of Officer Murguido's driveway? In other words, how far is it from where you are to where that Dr. McDonough is standing? If you can estimate reasonably.
20 feet, 30 feet, no more.
Okay. So you're back cleaning. Tell me what you saw after that.
Back cleaning. Last time I had looked up, gentleman was standing in front of the driveway. Then I hear loud voices. I hear screaming.
Okay.
And
could you tell who was screaming?
the voice that I heard first and that I heard the loudest was the gentleman.
Okay. My client?
Correct.
Okay. Could you hear what he was screaming?
No, it was just screaming.
Okay.
I don't know.
Now, when you say screaming, tell me what you mean by screaming.
Loud speaking, loud,
Okay.
agitated screaming.
Okay. Okay. Tell me what else happened.
Then I observed him step into the property, and at that point, Officer Murguido started screaming for him to get off the property.
All right. Tell me what he did to step into the property.
Took a couple steps forward into the property,
On the driveway?
on the driveway.
Okay. Where was Officer Murguido first, if you know, at the time that my client was in front of the driveway? Do you remember where he was?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. How about when, I'm sorry, you were about to finish.
I know he was in the driveway. I know he had been in and out a couple times, but I don't know exactly where he was at when the gentleman stood in front of his residence.
How about when he took a couple of steps onto the driveway? Did you see where Officer Murguido was then?
In the driveway.
How far away were they from each other? Could you tell?
A few feet.
Like you and I are?
Correct.
Okay. We're about 4 or 5 feet apart. Would that be fair?
Approximately.
Okay. Okay. So you heard this gentleman screaming. What did Officer Murguido respond, or did you see him respond, or hear him respond, or what?
Just a lot of telling him to get off, repeated, just telling him to get off the property, to leave, to get off the property.
Okay. What happened then?
I saw Officer Murguido either step into his residence or his garage, just step back. The gentleman left, started walking, continued to walk east.
Continued walking east?
Correct.
Okay.
And then I saw Officer Murguido get into his vehicle and drive towards the individual.
Okay. Did you see him catch up to that person?
At that point, I was already in my patrol vehicle, and because of the agitated state that the gentleman was in, and how he was, moving his arms, and you could tell he was really upset. I proceeded to turn on my vehicle and go after Officer Murguido to make sure that he was safe.
Well, why would you do that? I mean, in other words, he's going after somebody. Why would you worry about his safety?
Because he's an officer,
Okay.
and just to make sure that he was okay.
Okay. Were you armed at that point?
No,
Okay. Were you in a uniform? I think I asked you that. Were you in a uniform?
I don't recall.
Okay. So when you say you went after him, tell me what you did. I mean,
I followed and crossed over 202,
okay.
and his vehicle was there. He was standing outside.
When you say 202, you mean 202nd Avenue?
That is correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
He was standing outside his vehicle. The gentleman was standing in front, off to the right,
Uh-huh.
and I pulled up behind him, stood outside by my door, and I didn't do anything else.
Okay. Did you hear Officer Murguido saying anything to Dr. McDonough?
No,
Did you hear Dr. McDonough saying anything to Officer Murguido?
no,
Okay. So your car's behind Officer Murguido's?
correct,
Okay, and you're just standing there?
correct.
All right. Did Officer Murguido ask you for any assistance at that point?
No, not that I could.
Did you offer any assistance at
No.
that point? Okay.
None was needed.
I understand.
None was needed.
Okay. So what transpired after that?
I remember the gentleman was trying to talk to me or saying something
To you?
to me.
Okay.
He had said something about what's been going on, and I didn't want to hear it. I
Okay.
didn't want to hear it because there was nothing I could do. So I asked him to stop,
Okay.
and that was it.
Were you there when other police officers arrived?
As soon as the first officers arrived, I got it back into the vehicle and I left.
Do you know what officers arrived? Were they Homestead or Miami-Dade? Do you know?
I don't remember.
Okay. And you went back to your residence?
Correct.
Okay. How come you didn't stay around? I'm just asking.
It didn't involve me.
Okay.
It didn't involve me. I just needed to make sure the officer was fine. Officer Murguido was fine. And as soon as other officers arrived, I left the scene.
Okay. Did any officers contact you that day?
No.
Did you go up to any of the officers that day and say, hey, listen, I saw something or what happened?
I don't remember. I don't recall, but I don't think so. I
Okay.
think I got it back into the vehicle and I drove away.
Okay. So when you drove away, did you see anything that transpired after you drove away? I mean,
No.
did you stop at your house, look from as far away as you were?
I backed up into the driveway again and continued to clean the car.
Okay. I don't know the distance. First of all, how far do you think you had to drive to where Officer Murguido was? A block, half a block, 5 houses? Is there any way for you to tell?
A block.
Okay. And you said you backed up?
Correct.
Okay. And when you backed up, could you see what was going on from your vantage point when you got to your house?
No.
Okay. Did any police officers ever contact you about what happened between Officer Murguido and Dr. McDonough?
Yes. Miami-Dade detective contacted me.
Do you remember when that was? Do
No, I don't remember.
you remember how long after the incident it was?
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Okay. Between the time that the incident occurred and the Miami-Dade officers contacted you, whatever that was, did you have a conversation with Officer Murguido about this?
No.
You two never talked about it?
No, not that I can recall.
Okay. How was it that an officer got in contact with, a Miami-Dade officer got in contact with you?
I don't know.
Go ahead, you
You
can.
can answer.
They contacted me on my cell phone and asked to meet with me.
Okay. Do you know who that officer or detective was?
Don't remember.
Okay. Would Alvarez ring a bell? Does that help or not? Okay. Did you talk to him? I presume it was a him.
Yes, sir.
Did you two talk about the case over the phone, or did you just say, we'd like to set up a meeting?
I believe initially it was over the phone. And then he set up a meeting and we met.
All right. Do you know how they knew to get in touch with you?
Form.
I don't recall. I don't know. I do not know how they were able to get a hold of me.
It's speculation.
No, I know.
I don't
Well, only if you know.
I don't know.
Did they ever tell you, in other words, since you didn't, what I'm getting at is, you didn't tell somebody that you saw what happened.
Correct.
How did they know you saw what happened?
I don't know, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Were you aware, or did you know whether Officer Murguido had talked to the police before you talked to them. Do you follow? You follow my question?
I understand what you're saying, and no, I wasn't aware of that.
Okay. Okay. So the first telephonic conversation, you did tell them what you saw? Is that what happened, or just?
I don't recall if we went over what I saw.
Okay.
I don't remember that conversation.
Okay. And you set up another meeting?
Correct.
Tell me about that other meeting. What happened?
Met, and I gave him only what I knew.
All right. I presume you wouldn't tell them what you didn't know. Where did that meeting take place?
In the parking lot of the Walgreens on Palm Drive and US 1.
Okay. Do you remember who that officer was?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. How did were you in his car? Did he come to your car? Were you standing outside?
I believe we sat in his vehicle.
Do you know if you were being recorded?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall what you told him?
I told him what I saw.
All right. Did you tell him what you're telling me, or did you tell him something different?
No, I believe I told him exactly what I'm telling you, sir.
Okay. Did you ever get a chance to listen to that tape recording?
Yes.
When did you listen to that recording?
Yes.
Okay. Had you listened to it before then?
No.
All right. Is there anything about what you heard you say that was inaccurate about your recollection of the incident?
No, sir.
Okay. I just want to make something clear. Back to the encounter between Murguido and Dr. McDonough. You didn't hear what McDonough was saying to Officer Murguido, did you? The words, or did you?
The words, no.
Okay.
I heard a lot of screaming.
Right.
And it was so loud and so agitated that it was muffled. I couldn't tell what it was saying.
All right. All right.
But I could hear Murguido telling him to get off the property.
All right.
To leave.
Did you hear Murguido saying anything else other than get off the property?
Not that I remember.
Okay. How about after you listened to the recording yesterday? I know what I'm getting at, the incident's been about 5 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but you gave that tape recorded statement a number of years ago.
Yes, sir.
When you listened to the tape statement,
Yes, sir.
did you say something to the detective about anything else Murguido might have said?
No, sir.
Okay. Why don't you look at document number 1 there? It should be the police report, a narrative, a 4-page report. Yeah, that one with the, no, the one that's blacked out. No, that one, yeah.
This one?
This one.
It says,
right.
This is Exhibit 4, I believe.
Yeah, he said it was 4. It's 1. It's 1. That's the one.
Yeah.
All right, can you turn to the last page? See the paragraph that starts Tuesday, May 7th? The very
Yes,
last, okay.
yes.
All right. Apparently that's, any reason not to believe that that wasn't the accurate date?
No, there's no reason for me.
Okay. The report ends with that.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall speaking to any police officers about this case after that date? After that tape-recorded statement with, it turns out to be Detective Alvarez, but do you understand my question?
Is this the day I met with the gentleman?
It says here, the interview was conducted
Yes,
inside my
yes.
marked vehicle.
I understand what day it is.
Right.
No, after that, there was no more contact with anyone references.
Okay. Did you know, or did you ever find out that my client had been arrested for this action?
No.
Did the state attorney ever contact you about being a witness in the case?
No.
Provided to your attorney in discovery was a tape recording that purported to show a conversation between Officer Murguido and my client, along with a transcript of that. Okay?
Okay.
Were you ever shown those or listened to those?
My attorney did provide them. I did not listen to them.
Did you read the transcript?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So you haven't listened to the recording?
No, sir.
After you gave the statement to Detective Alvarez, which appears to be May 7th, have you talked to Officer Murguido about this case since?
No.
Without telling me the conversation, were you ever at a joint meeting between your client, your attorney, Officer Murguido, and Officer Murguido's attorney?
Yes, I believe we sat down one time for lunch or dinner. We might have sat down at a restaurant. Yes.
Okay.
Not with me.
No, sir.
He said
I think he
with,
misunderstood the question.
Right, in other words, did you sit down with Officer Murguido,
Okay.
your attorney, and his attorney
Oh, no, no.
All together.
No.
all together?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
What were you referring to?
I sat down one time with Murguido and my attorney.
Okay. Did you discuss the case?
I don't recall. I'm sure that if we sat down together, we must have, but I don't recall.
Okay,
Again, it was a long time ago.
I understand. When you say a long time ago, was it after you gave the statement to Alvarez? The tape-recorded statement?
I don't recall.
Was it after you were found out you got sued?
I believe the reason why I went to an attorney was because I received paperwork
Right.
that I was sued.
Right, but...
just for the record, Officer Murguido raises the joint defense privilege.
I'm not asking for any conversations, I just want to know
Whether it occurred.
right, whether it occurred. Right, yeah.
I just don't want to waive any objection.
No, understood. I'm specifically, I want you to talk about the conversation. But what I'm getting, you might know Mr., is it Jabro or Jabro?
Jabro.
Jabro. You might know Mr. Jabro from other circumstances. Did this meeting occur after you were sued by Dr. McDonough for this case?
I'm assuming, yes.
Okay.
But I don't recall. for
Okay.
sure.
I forgot to ask you, the document you're looking at now,
Yes, sir.
before I showed it to you, had you ever seen this document
No,
before?
sir.
Okay. Before you sat down for the deposition, other than listening to your recorded statement, okay, which you said, did you look at any other documents in preparation for
No,
this?
sir.
Give me 1 second. Anything else? Let me just make clear, and the only time you talked to the detective about this case was once on the phone
And one's in person.
and once in person,
Which detective were we talking?
from Miami-Dade. The one that...
The one that recorded the
Yeah.
statement?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
all right. Did you talk to any other detectives about this case?
Not that I recall.
Okay, so we're talking about the same person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I don't have any more questions for you, Mr. Jabro.
Mr. Seton, any questions? I don't have any questions.
All right, reserve his right to read. Yeah.
Read.
We'll read.
Right.
The time is 12:52, and this concludes the videotape deposition of Officer Luis Gomez. We're off.